Awesome. I think we are live. Oh, we have with us today an amazing guest by the name of Juliet Wambui. She is among many other things, the partnership manager at Centonomy. So the program manager for the Centonomy Career Hub. And she's here to talk to us about something very, very close to her heart, which is growth mindset development as you're starting out in your career. Her herself, she's a paragon of this. She has a degree in finance, but she started in business development. Then she became a partner, and now she's working and enjoying her craft at digital marketing. She's also part of the content creation team at Centonomy, and she has a really cool series called Centonomy. Actually, I'm a fan of. So welcome, Juliet. Karibu sana to this space. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Jerome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Karibu sana.
Amazing. Yeah, so as guys have heard from the brief introduction from Jerome, that's me, that's my profile. And I'd just like to know who are the people who are also in the room that I'm interacting with. Just to know, I know I got the spreadsheet of the people who are here. And I'm sorry, it's been a very busy day, so I didn't really go through everyone's what everyone does and the expectations for today. But I'd just like a few people to unmute themselves, because again, this is like a career talk, rather, as much as we're training on a couple of things that we have seen work. But I'd also like to know what are some of the things that you guys do. If maybe 2-3 people can unmute themselves and, have a conversation with me, because this will be an interactive class, because that's the only way we learn. I learn from you and you learn from me, and that's how I'm going to be able to help you guys, and also to make the session quite interactive, because we're all young, we're not old guys. So I'd like a few people just to unmute themselves and tell me who they are, what they do. If you have a job, if you started working, if you're searching, some things like that. Just interact with me. Tell me something.
Mm-hmm. Okay, as people.
I think I'll go first.
All right.
Hi, my name is
Maybe I can start. Cool.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, there's a lag. Go ahead, Christine.
My name is Christine, and I'm in the PR and comms space. I have a bachelor's degree in journalism, but I dived into PR. I say maybe that's one of the ways I have diversified in my career. But I'm really excited for this session. I'm looking forward to learn.
Amazing, Christine. And I like the fact that you used the word diversifying, because that's one of the things that in the career space you have to do in order for you to move towards a certain level in your own career. So karibu sana, Christine. I'm glad to have you here. Somebody else, I think Jerome, you can also go, because you're the one who's the host, so you can grace us with a little bit of what you do, just for me to know you also as my co-host for the day or for the night.
Okay. My name is Jerome. I'm an architecture student in my 4th year out of 6. I am also one of the guys who's organizing this ThriveCon event. I'm also an alumni from the campus edition, so I'm actually the whole journey of career development, personal branding, etc. began for me with Centonomy. And
yes.
And yeah, I'm just hoping to learn a lot about how to, the skills that I need to start developing now, and even within the leadership space in school, and how to sort of help people grow to gain those skills such that gain traction very early in their career and get to do what they want, and get to succeed at doing what they want. So that's a bit about me.
Amazing. So 6 years in school. I hope all the best to you, some of us. I'm not going to lie, 6 years is a lot. But that's good. That's good. And the fact that you're organizing this, and the fact that your vision for this is also trying to be able to help other people, speaks a lot about you. So maybe we could have one more person, and then we could just go straight to the day's content and the day's presentation. So just one more person to tell me and to engage with me and interact with me and tell me what you do. If you're working, if you're Jerome here who's in school for 6 years. Also, please let me know, or even you can even type it in the comment section, and then I'll read it as we go presentation. Just one more person, and then you can just dive right into the content for the day.
I think I'll go next and say I'm Gregory Ngetich, same page as Jerome's, but I've just completed my 4th year of study, headed to 5th year in January. Yeah, the same 6 years, also in the leadership space. And I really hope with the career development that we are talking about and everything, I'll really learn a lot and develop further, and also mold people into leadership and make them exploit their potential and reach their potential. Thank you. From Kenyatta University, architecture student.
All right. So I'm assuming a lot of people here are in the architecture space. So we'll just dive right into the content for the day. As you guys have heard, my name is Juliet Wambui. I'm the program manager for Career Hub at Centonomy. But today we're going to be speaking about a special topic that you guys had. Shout out to a special topic about what you guys had suggested that you want to learn about, that you want to know. Considering that you guys are going to be going to the career space, or are going to be you're headed towards there. So it's really good that you're actually taking the initiative to learn about these things now, so that you can struggle. As a couple of people have struggled, that we have seen even in the Career Hub program, and even for me myself, I wouldn't say that I came into this career space knowing exactly what I want to do, knowing, I'm going to, in my head, I knew I'd be doing finance, and that was it for me. And it's just because also the conversations around me did a lot for me. They made me feel like, oh, that's the only thing I can venture into, that's the available thing. And the same campuses that you hear, that's what, for me and my age and in my era rather, that's what I was accustomed to. So, but then when I entered the career space, it was very different, because now you get to understand that things are different, and how people operate is different, and how one employer and the other employer are always going to think differently about you. So all this basically ties into what you need to know moving forward when you want to grow in your career space. And so I just think, Jerome, I think you have made me co-host. I just want to share my screen right now so that you can just go on with the session. Great. So first and foremost, I got a couple of requests as to what you guys wanted to learn for today. And one of the things, or the main thing, was early career development. And I just I'd like to know what you guys think early career development is, or rather in your minds, what was going through, because I saw like this early career development, and under that there was office etiquette, there was how to be seen, how to be heard, there was taking initiative, and the likes of those. So I just wanted to understand what are some of the expectations that you have for today's class. What is it that you want to hear? What is that one thing that you want to counter by having this session? And you can definitely leave it on the chat, and Jerome can help me to read out a couple of them. But then I'd also like to hear what are some of the expectations that you have for today's session, so that even by the time the session is over, we can comfortably say that we have learned and that our expectations have been met. So yeah, just like a few people, I'd say we are 24 people, so I should be seeing 20, at the very least 20 items in the chat box, and I should be able to communicate with at least 4 people who will tell me what are some of the expectations that you have for today's session before we even start. So for volunteers, I'm not going to pick names because I don't think I don't think we are in that era where mimi ni mwalimu wa shule nakwambia ni wewe. No, just 4 people just tell me what are some of the expectations for today's session, and what is it that you want to counter? What is it that by the time you're moving to your 5th year, your 6th year, and even by the time you're outside, what is it that you really want to counter by having this session for today? Jerome, if you can be able to, at the very least, read out some few expectations that people are putting on the chat box, and then I think from there we can go on. I'm seeing a couple. But since I'm multitasking, I'm a girl, but still multitasking is huge.
Okay. There's one from a cool guy called Jerome who says he wants to learn how to use his job to make an impact and actually grow his wealth. Steve says he wants to know how to build a great CV, skill sets, and network. That's pretty cool. Ambani says he wants to learn about standing out in the competitive job market. Victoria talks about she'd like to know how to appropriately and effectively set boundaries in a workplace. Damn, it's important. Yeah.
Okay. I'm seeing at least.
So guys, keep sending your expectations.
I see at least we are aligned. At the very least, we're aligned. And the interesting thing is all of the things that you're mentioning, we can bottle them up in one specific topic and just move with it and run with it. And that's basically what we're going to be going through today. So what is growth mindset? When you hear about growth mindset, what comes into your mind? And what I want for this class is, again, as I said, I want us to be as interactive as we can. And also I want us to be very open-minded, because I feel like a couple of buttons are going to be pressed, and I'm sorry, it's not my fault, but it's the reality of life. And when they say earth is hard, this is it. So so a few people are going to be a little bit vexed about some of the points that we're going to be talking about, but that is what growth mindset is all about, because we want to change the mentality that people have towards careers or towards getting a career. Because we've had things like, there are no jobs in Kenya. We've had things like, I'm working in a job that I don't really like, so I'll just be clocking in and clocking out at the stipulated time, and I just won't do anything extra. I won't put initiative, and I won't do all that. But we've had all that. And yes, it's true that the career space, or that being in the career space, takes a toll on your mindset or on your mentality. And that's why we see people who are working 8 to 5 jobs, but after the 8 to 5 jobs on a Saturday, when you have conversations with people, everyone's just like, so it's the weekend, and then on Sunday, people are just like, okay, so tomorrow is Monday. I need to go to that office. And that is the mentality that a lot of people, or a lot of people have, even people who have grown in their own careers, but haven't really gotten the right type of mindset to move along with. And so that's what we are going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about how to build your social capital. And I'm going to have a lot of references from the class that you did on personal branding, because I'd want to understand if you have already actually started working on your personal brand. Do you know what you want to do? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you putting yourself in front of the people who are going to see right through you? Are your CVs intact? Is your LinkedIn profile intact? Because those are some of the things that will actually take you a step further in your own career. And so that's what growth mindset is all about, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So Jerome, I don't know if there's an issue
Sorry.
Yeah, I cannot seem to move my slides
Citizenship.
from my. Pardon?
Again, I don't know. You're asking something?
Yes, I was asking if it's just on my end because I'm trying to share to move my screen, but I can't seem to do that. So let me just work on this. Just give me a few minutes, and then I'll.
Okay. So, meanwhile, as she does, she sets up her slides, you guys keep sending your expectations per chat. I really like what Christy mentioned at the beginning, how she's in the PR space and how she's very conscious about what she would like to sort of grow into, and she's just looking forward to this conversation. I like to hear things like those. Anyone else? I can see some people are still joining. Karibuni sana. There's some people I think who are following on YouTube. Yeah, we have at least one person following YouTube. So yeah, just send your expectations of what you'd like to learn from Juliet. For those of you who don't know what Career Hub is about, I have a very close relative who I forced to consider, and he actually did Career Hub and he really enjoyed it. It's like once you've done Centonomy Campus Edition, we are the guys who are partnering with, you do Career Hub, and it's sort of also a 7-week program that's just geared towards helping you, gain the life you want while you're in your career, on your employment. So yeah, these guys are experts. So anything they say is quite, I've seen it. I've seen people who are very, very passive to things. They're just like, meh. They go for this course and they are totally mind blown after every single session. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to. Ricky has said, as a creative, he's looking forward to staying positive, considering facing a lot of criticism for his work during growth. Damn. Really, bro. Yeah.
I am back.
And people who have ideas. Okay, cool. So.
Yeah, sorry. There's a small technical technology. We are millennials, but technology is another thing. And I've heard that you have creatives. I love that you have creatives because I'm also creative, and believe you me when I say it, you can be a creative and you can be in the career space and you can flourish in both. So big up to the person who's a creative, and we'll just go right straight to the content. So as usual, we like to start with, we like to have mind-boggling things going around. And the first thing we like to do is we always share quotes. So I don't know if you've noticed it on our pages, on the campus pages, on the career hub pages, we always share a quote just because we feel like that's how we should all start. And this says all things are created twice. Okay, so all things are created twice. There's a mental or first creation and a physical or second creation to all things. So I don't know, Jerome, I think I'll just speak on you because you're the one who's my co-host today. What do you get from reading this quote, or what do you think about when you read this quote?
There's a mental or first creation. Okay, I feel like maybe it's sort of, it alludes to the fact that before something actually happens, you actually have to think about it. You have to sort of have that philosophy, that thought of it, then you manifest it in your life. So you have to have, let's say, the dream, and then it becomes a plan, it becomes a strategy, then you execute.
Exactly. And I don't even think
that's a second creation, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear the last part, but how you started this, how you started what you're saying is like it's exactly what happens. And you see, it's interesting because our minds have a way to play games with us. Like you can do this fast, you can do this thing now, and then fail at it, and then you're here, you're moping, you're telling yourself, oh, now I already did this strategy, it's not working, and things like that. And at the end of the day, we forget that that's how people grow, or that's how you actually start. I've seen a comment on the chat section where someone is asking, when is the time to start growing in your career? And to be very, very honest, I don't think there's a time in your career that you don't grow. Because remember, at the end of the day, I'm learning from you and you're learning from me. It could just be a simple word, a simple thing as a word that you've read in a book that I've never heard of before, that I've never used before. And it could be, you've taught me this word. So to be very honest, in your career, I don't think there's any one time that you can say, at this particular time, Leo, this is now where I'm going to start growing. No, because your work as a person, what we always say in one of our courses, which is the career course, is we always say that one, you should look at yourself as a value creating entity. Your work is not to just say, okay, nitakuja hapa, I'll work for 2 months, I'll work for 3 months, and then I'll work for 1 year, and then after 1 year is now when I'll start considering growth. No, because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to remember that you're constantly growing every single minute that you are in a place, every single minute that you're in that job space, every single minute that you're in that class. You're supposed to look at it as, how am I growing? And at the end of the day, if I'm growing at this particular way, then I need to ensure that I am also creating value for the next person. So it could be a friend of yours who was not in class on the specific day, and what you're going to do is that you're going to teach them what was taught in class when they weren't there, and that is impact. So you've created value to that person, because I know a lot of us here miss classes. I was one of those people who used to miss classes, but then you have to remember what's your initiative, what's your goal at the end of every single thing. So that's just basically what you've said, Jerome. I don't even think I need to add or remove or remove anything from it. Next thing that we're going to look about is social capital. So when we talk about career development or career growth, we believe one thing and one thing only, that your social capital is what will help you grow in your own career. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, social capital is where it's at. If you need that hookup, if you need that job, like whatever you need, and I think you can even do this with your own family members. Just ask them, or even your friends, or even friends of friends who are already in the career space or who are already working, and ask them how they got the jobs that they're in, how they got the first job, how they got the second jobs. And the people who always tell you, oh, probably my father knows a person in this company, and that's how I ended up interning there. And then at the end of the day, or at the end of my 3 months, I ended up getting the job. Why? Because it's the social capital that not you have started, or that not you have created, but it's the social capital that it's the social capital that your father or your parent or that person who hooked you up to that job had or created. And that's what we're going to focus mainly today on. It's on social capital. And I'd really like to know what you get from the word social capital. What do you think social capital is? I know we're reading a couple of things on the slides, but in your own words, or in your own words, what do you really think social capital is, and how do you even think you start on social capital? Or is it even related? I could be here telling you, oh, social capital is related to career growth, but then at the end of the day, you're looking at me like, but I just want to know, how do I start growing in my own career? And I'm seeing Brian is saying that it's network. So just tell me, guys, on the comment section or the chat section, just tell me, what do you really think social capital is? As much as there's a lot of writings on the screen, in your own words, what do you think social capital is? Having people who trust you and your skills. Okay, Jerome. Okay. And vis-a-vis. Okay, Sawa. Guys, continue. I'm seeing 31 people in this chat. So I think minus the 2 and plus myself, what do you think social capital is? I've seen it's your networks. I've seen it's how people trust you and vis-a-vis. What else do you think social capital is? Or is it even important? Sorry. Who do you know and what is their value to you? Interesting, Gloria. Gloria, I'd actually like to have a chat with you. I don't know if you can be able to unmute yourself. So you said it's who do you know and what value they have to you. And I'd just like you I'd just like us to have a conversation around that. And I'd ask you the same. Who do you know and what value do they give you? Do you think it should also be vice versa? Or do you just think it's who you know and what value they have for you?
I think it should be vice versa. Because, okay, speaking from a student's perspective, I may know someone and they are in a position of value, but am I in a position of value for them?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be vice versa, give and take. Yeah.
All right. I love that. And I can see a couple of more things streaming in the chat. And it's basically it's everything that you guys are saying. Social capital is the networks that you create between now and it's basically between now till you move on into your career spaces, till you diversify, till you become greater and bigger, become a CEO. It's who you know. And I'd also like to tie it into what Gloria has said. It's yes, the people that you know and what value you're giving to them and what value they are giving to you. Remember, at the end of the day, people like to think of things as, what are you giving me? But then we always forget, what am I giving that other person? I remember when I was starting out in business development, one of the things that I started out thinking was, the only thing I'm supposed to do here is I'm supposed to prospect for clients, and then I'm supposed to call them and I'll give them this really amazing pitch. And then after giving them this amazing pitch, nihivyo, I'm done for. I have done my part. I have done everything. They should be able to convert to what they want. But then I started getting this question of, okay, you want people to sign in or to be on board with what you're pitching for us, but what are we getting out of it? Because at the end of the day, we always think of it as, at the end of the I'm going to bring Career Hub, and Career Hub is going to help you, but you need to, I also need to look at it in terms of what value are you getting at the end of the day, and what value am I getting? Is it that by you being in Career Hub, that means that, or being in even campus edition, does it mean that you're also going to be able to pull your networks? You're going to tell a friend, tell another friend to join the program. And that's how you should always look at social capital. And one of the things that we say, I mean, if you look at the word capital itself, the word capital is a word that just means business people use it, entrepreneurs use it. Everyone at this point uses capital, because with capital, that's the only way that you're going to be able to accelerate in one thing. If you're an entrepreneur, you need capital to start that business. If you're in your own career, your employer has employed you because they feel that you're an asset to the company. So if you're supposed to bring in numbers, if you're supposed to do something on the PR team, if you're the IT guy and you're the one who fixes everybody's laptops, you're the person who's supposed to create value for the company. And that's the type of capital that we're talking about. And when you put social capital together, that means you need to be able to look, you need to say that this is my networks and these are the people I know, and this is the value I'm giving to them. And most importantly, this is the value that they are giving to me. Because remember, at the end of the day, if we do not have that give and take thing, or that give and take aspect, then it just simply means that you're not of value to me and I'm not of value to you. And it's really interesting when, like, if you look at your contacts right now, if you go through your phone and you look at your contacts. I personally did this yesterday and I realized I have so many contacts, but to be very honest, I think I speak to at the very least 10 people in a whole week. So that says a lot about your social capital. But then if you look at it in terms of, I have these 200 people, and out of these 200 people, yes, I speak to 10 people on a daily, but that's just a small circle. When you talk about social capital, we're looking at this 200 people. I know this person can hook me up with this thing, and I know this person can hook me up with this thing. And I know if they hook me up with this thing, then I can be able to deliver to
Juliet, I think we lost you. Yeah, we seem to have this Juliet. Poleni sana for this. Okay, I'll just give shout outs. Kama mlionje. Shout out to the guys from ASA, WTICU, Karuga. That's Claudine, Kudu. Also guys from Isaac are here, Kisuri, Ricky, what can I see? Yeah, Mbani from SES. Yeah. From engineering, what's up? Brian from Toastmasters, what's up? Good start from the CS, true. Also good to see some names that I've been seeing quite often, like Cynthia, Manja, Karibu Sana. Greg, introduce yourself before. From Asake, Karibu Sana. Priska from Isaac as well. I think Juliet is back.
Yes, I am. Sorry for that.
Also
The
Luda is here. What's up?
yeah, electricity at our place
sorry.
just destroyed. Satan, Shetani alikuwa ametumana. So yeah, so now I'm back. Don't worry, guys, I'm back. Let me just connect my laptop. So as I was saying, as we were talking about social capital and how to actually gain your, sorry, just give me a few minutes.
Yeah, your co-host, yeah.
All right. Now we are officially back. Now we're officially back. So as we were talking about social capital, and one of the other things that I had mentioned earlier before is that you need to look at yourself as a value creating entity. And one statement that I actually want you guys to write, and even if you don't get anything from this class, at the very least, get this statement is, and I've just written it down so that I can say the exact same way that I want you to write it. And we say social capital is the resource injection that a company or a business or a value creating entity gets or receives in order to grow faster towards its objectives. So I'll just repeat that so that people can be able to, at the very least, remember this one statement, that social capital is the resource injection that a value creating entity, a business, or a company receives in order to get ahead or to grow faster with its objectives. At the very least, please remember that. Please remember that, because we always need to look at if you are gaining social capital, because I can ask you guys here how many followers you have on Instagram, how many followers you have on Twitter, how many followers you have, how many people you have in your contact list. And you'll mention for me tons of followers, tons of everything. But then at the end of the day, are these people helping you to grow in whatever area or in whatever aspect that that you want to grow in. So a lot of us want to grow in our careers. Do we have people in our list? Do we have people who we're following or who are following us who can actually help you to accelerate that process, or who can actually speed that process up for you? And when we speak about it and we say that you need to look at yourself as a value creating entity, you need to know that you are a resource. You need to remember that. At the very least, remember that you are a resource. And yes, we'll go to companies and an employer will tell you or will make you feel like, Jerome is telling me to say that again for the people at the back. Jerome, what exactly do you say? Is it a statement? Is it that you're a value creating entity? And yes, you do need to look at yourself like that, because at the end of the day, what you want to do here, what you are aiming to do, is that you are aiming to grow in your career. And there is no two ways about it. You need to have the right people in your contacts, or you need to have the right people who are going to be able to help you to grow in your career. And Jerome, you want me to repeat that statement? Okay, so we say social capital is a resource injection that a company, a business, or a value entity is creating so that it can be able, in order to grow faster with its objectives. So it's like you're looking at yourself as a value creating entity, and you're looking at yourself and you're saying, in the next 2 years, or in the next I don't know, like when you finish till your 6th year, you need to be able to say, these are the people who are going to be able to help me to move towards the next step. Do I want an internship at one of the best engineering companies? Do I want just a job immediately? Do I even want to do this engineering gig or not? You need to be able to know if these people that are in your networks are actually helping you to grow. And when you say that you need to look at yourself as a value creating entity, you need to know that you are a resource. And by saying that you are a resource, have you ever asked yourself why in any company we say the HR is the human resource department? Because what they are doing is they are sourcing out people who are going to be able to create value in the company so that the company can be able to grow in the different objectives that it has set itself out for. So that's why it's called a human resource department, because you as a person, you are a resource, and the HR is looking for you, the resource, so that you can be able to help the company to grow in one of the objectives. You see, so when you look at yourself in that aspect, that is when you start realizing that this is what I need to do, that I need to create the right networks, that I need to create value for the people that I'm interacting with. It's being able to say, Sawa, I'm in the same class as this lecturer, and this lecturer is giving me knowledge. So what am I going to give in return to this lecturer? Am I going to go and speak to this lecturer and ask them, when I finish school, can I help you deliver some of the classes that you deliver? Is it that you're that good enough for the lecturer to actually say, okay, Sawa, but I may actually consider this person? And I'm going to give you 5 different resources that you as a person have, or 5 different resources that you can start utilizing at the very least right now, so that you can be able to grow your social capital in the right way. And the first resource that I'm going to be sharing today is yourself. As we have said, you are a value creating entity. So what are some of the skills that you have? Who are some of the people in your networks? Who are some of your friends even? Who are some of the talents that you have? Because once you are able to know that this is my skill, I was in the session a while back on personal branding, and I remember very well when Jerome said, you are always the life of the party. And a lot of people actually agreed to what you said. And that showed a lot, and that spoke to me a lot, because that means if I see you as the life of the party, then if maybe there's something that I have, or if maybe I have an event that I want someone to organize for me or someone to do for me, then I'll remember in my mind, okay, there was a guy called Jerome and this is what he said. So look at yourself as a value creating entity, because that is what you are. Because if you understand some of the talents that you have, some of the skills that you have, if you understand that this is how me as a person, how me as Juliet, I can be able to grow the Career Hub program, how me as Juliet, I can be able to deliver for Thrive for Campus Edition. If I'm able to know that these are some of the skills that I have, then I'm already creating one of the forms of social capital that will help me in the near future. The second thing you have is time. And this is where I'll attack a lot of people, because often than not, if I ask people here what they do on a typical Saturday, I will hear wonders. I will hear wonders and wonders and wonders. And I'd actually like to know, what are some of the things that you do on a Saturday? And maybe you can leave them on the chat box just so that we can be able to see, are those things actually helping you accelerate towards your career? I saw someone mention that they are a creative. And for me as a creative, one of the questions I used to ask myself is, okay, when I was in campus, it's okay, I'll go to school, and on Thursdays or on Fridays, we'll always have 1 or 2, 3 things that we're doing with my friends, and we'll just be chilling, or we'll just be doing 1 or 2, 3 things that are really not important. And then we later came to realize that we can actually do something on this Thursdays on these Fridays, because there's someone who was really good on social media. There's someone who there's someone who had contacts. There's someone who you'd go to and you're just like, I want to organize this and this is how I can be able to do it. So can you pull people? Can you bring people up? And then at the end of the day, we ended up knowing that time is what we had during campus. Like, we had the time to do everything. We didn't have the responsibilities that we have right now. You didn't have to go to work. All you had to do was just, be a teenager or a young adult and just live life, because that's what we all wanted to do. But then we remembered we have time. And when you have time, you start doing things that will actually help you during this time. So even if it's on a Saturday and you work from Monday to Friday, and then you have Saturday and Sunday free, what are you doing? Is it that you only want to be, like for me, is it that I only want to be the program manager for Career Hub? Or is it that, I also have 1, 2, 3, I also have a business that I want to scale up. I'm also a creative and I need to attend these social gatherings, that even when I want to do my own social gathering, then I know who to call, then I know how to start. And time is one of the best resources that you also have. The other resource that you have is money. Money. We have had all influencers, we have had musicians speak about money, and money is one of the resources that, to be very honest, will always help you. And I know a lot of people here will ask me, but then how do you start having money, or how do you start getting money so that you can be able to move your dreams? And that's why, honestly, Campus Edition is here, because that's one of the topics that are discussed on is knowing how to save and how to invest. And that's just a whole topic that will help you and your finances move from one level to the other. And there's always this saying that I like, that I had one of our trainers say, and it stuck to me in my head for the longest time. And he said, rich people will always ensure that they are working so hard to make more money. So rich people are working hard to make money, but then wealthy people are working hard so that the money can work for them. Because remember, as a wealthy person, you're here, you've already had businesses, you've created the right social networks, your money is literally speaking to you. And that's the difference between a rich person and a wealthy person. A rich person will always look at, oh my God, how am I going to make this money? And a rich person will always look at, I want my boss to I want a salary increase, because if I get a salary increase, then, I'm going to be able to either buy these nice things, or I'm going to be able to do this. But then you forget, with a salary increase comes a lot of things. You're in a higher tax bracket. If you are saving for money, if you are saving for an emergency fund, then that means you save extra, because now you have extra. If you are investing, then you have to invest more, because we always forget that the more money you have, people say more money, more problems. And in a way, that's true, because when you have more money, then you're looking at it and you're thinking, okay, then I have this and this and this to counter. Then when you have more money, you start telling yourself, oh, there's black tax. I need to send this amount of money to either my auntie, or I need to send this amount of money to maybe I'm supporting a sibling. And we forget those things. But then what you need to remember is money is an important resource that you have, or you can start creating for yourself right now. And also remembering there's a very big difference between rich people and wealthy people. The other resource that we're going, that I'd like you guys to take note of, is reputation. So what is your reputation? And I know you guys spoke about personal branding with Tessie the other day, and that's your reputation. Reputation is basically, yes, Jerome, I will. Yes. So this is not in the slides. These are just things that, these are just tips that I'd want you to be able to put, or to just note down, because these are tips that are going to help you moving forward, because we don't really have them in the slides yet. As we're speaking about the resources, the other thing that we're saying is on reputation. So what does your reputation speak about you? Basically, when you talk about reputation, is can your own character, can your own personal brand hold meetings on your behalf? And that is what it's all about. That is what ties in social capital together. Because if your reputation cannot hold meetings for you, then it means you need to be physically holding meetings for yourself. And if this is what that means, then it means that you need to be going to that specific place to do the meetings. But remember, you don't have the luxury of time. So if you're there holding that meeting, then it means you're on this other end thinking, okay, so this I was also supposed to do 1, 2, 3. So how am I going to be able to do this? So you need to be able to create a really, really, really good personal brand or a really good reputation that is going to help you to be able to accelerate yourself in a way that will help you to meet your goals at the end of the day. So I just like to recap that because I know that we don't have it in the slides, but those are just some of the resources that I thought or that I could give you so that you can be able to start building these things. Jerome, it's okay. So that you can start being able to build on these things, so that you can start being able to understand, I need to start building social capital in order for me to grow, or in order for me to grow in my career. So how do I do that? I have a couple of resources that I have. One, you have yourself. 2, you have time. 3, you have money. And 4, the other thing is you have networks. So what are your networks? There's this exercise that I usually like to take people through, and I think I'll just do the same with you guys. I want each and every single one of you, at least if you have a pen or paper, write down a list of people that you have interacted with in the last 7 days. So I'll just give you 10 minutes to do this. Think about everyone. Think about the askari. Think about your mom, your dad, your sibling, like people who you have interacted with in the last 7 days. And it could be a list of, I don't know, depending on how social you are, it could be a list of, at the very least, let's say 15 to 20 people. Think about who have I interacted with in the last 7 days. And this is just an exercise that will help you know how to start building again your networks and how your networks ties into social capital. So think about it. Just write a list of the people that you have interacted with in the last 1 week, that's in the last 7 days. And I've said again, think about everyone, the mailman, the shopkeeper, you've gone to the supermarket, you know, it's someone in class. Think about that, and I'll just give you 10 minutes to write a list of those people down. And then also at the end, or just beside that, write your connection with these people. So is it your mom? Is it a shop attendant? Is it guy in red t-shirt? Just break it down, and then this is an exercise that will really, really help you to understand social capital and more specifically to understand how to build your networks and if you're even doing it in the right way or not. So I'll just give you 5 minutes and then we can proceed from there. And once you guys are done, you can just put it in the chat box and just write done, and then you continue. So think about it. Who are the people that I've interacted with in the last 1 week? So have you guys written down? And I'll actually now start pointing out a few people just to share if you have written the people that you've interacted with in the last 1 week. And I'd like someone to just share and tell me, maybe there's Sophia, or there's Jerome from ThriveCon, there's Nani, someone to just tell us who are these people that you've engaged in, because now this will tie everything up, and this will just basically give you a clearer picture of if you're even doing you're doing social capital in the right way, or you're just you're interacting with the same people and you're just perambulating. You see, when is it Techno sang the song, you're perambulating around the same type of people every day. You're interacting with the same type of people, the same friend in class, I'd like someone to just speak to me and tell me who are the people that you've interacted with in the last 1 week or in the last 7 days. So I just think I'll pick at random Cynthia Wanja. Cynthia, if maybe you can be able to unmute yourself and tell me who are the people that you've interacted with in the last 1 week or in the last 7 days, and who are these people?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Cynthia, and for the last 7 days, I have interacted. Most I've interacted with are my classmates, lecturers. Yes, because a student. Yes.
All right. So these are the same people. The first day, second day, third day, every day for the 7 days. It's just your lecturers and all that.
Not necessarily every day, but let's say during weekdays, yes. But during the weekend, I have interacted with other people other than my classmates.
Right. And these people that you've interacted with, what are some of the conversations, rather, if you don't mind me asking? And you don't need to like really go in deep with the conversations that you've had, but briefly, what are some of the conversations that you've had with these people?
Okay, like I had an interesting conversation with a friend who is not a classmate, yes, but she happens to have finished her education. Then we were talking about like growth, personal growth, and things that a person can do in order to stand out. Yes.
Right. So things that you can do in order to stand out. And what were some of these things that you basically, what are some of the things that you thought or you guys shared with each other that can help you to stand out?
Reading these self-help books, and there are these podcasts we will start listening to that we felt are kind of important, and they are really helpful.
All right. So why are they helpful? Is it that do you want to maybe start a podcast? Do you want to start conversations around that? So why were they helpful for you? Like why exactly were they helpful?
Okay, they revolve around things that affect us directly. For example, how to manage finances, how to come out of our comfort zones, and how to interact basically with different people at different levels, and also growing in our careers and forming good and helpful networks.
All right. Somebody else before we die. So who else needs to be roasted? And all these questions that I'm asking, Cynthia, it's not because the steps that you're taking don't really make sense, but it's just because I want you to also be able to understand. Again, you're thinking about career development, and you're thinking about how do I start? And I know a lot of us are thinking about, okay, after my 6th year, if all of us are doing 6 years, we're trying to think about how exactly am I going to now make the next step? And these are the things that will help you. These are the things that will help you to understand, okay, this is what I need to do. Maybe I need to read about, if it's working on my finances, maybe I need to read about, use those self-help books and understand, or even take campus edition and understand, I need to start investing in this way, and I need to start saving for this, or I need to be building an emergency fund that will help me in future. We need to also be able to know what is your end goal. Because remember, if you do not have an end goal, then that just means that you're just living life. You're simply perambulating and doing the same things over and over again. But if you have a certain goal, you already know that at the end of my 6 years, or even by the end of my 4th year, and what I want to do is I want to get an internship at this specific place. And if I want to get an internship at this place, this company has a certain reputation. And if I want to be in this company, then I need to have a certain reputation. And if after I have this certain reputation, which is what you covered in personal branding, they also need to understand then these are sort of the steps that I need to take. And what are the steps that I need to take? I need to start building my social capital. And how do I start doing that? I need to remember, one, that one of the resources that I have is myself. 2, the other resource that I have is time. The other resource that I have is reputation. It's my networks and it's money. So once you know or you understand all these 5 resources that you have for yourself, then you're able to know this is how I will grow. And if each and every single one of these resources, they include me myself reading more self-help books so that I can be able to understand then how exactly is my money going to work for me, or how am I going to save, or even who do I need to speak to so that I can be able to land a job in this specific place, right? So that's why I was just digging in deep just to understand why exactly are you doing, like what is the why, what is the end goal, what do you really need to achieve by the time you are done with with school and you now want to start and enter the career space. So somebody else, if you'd like to go, I'd like to hear who are the people that you have been interacting with for the last 7 days or the last 1 week, and who are these people? One more person, and then we can move on. A gentleman, I think I'll pick on Raphael Wages. Hello, Raphael, are you with us? Or maybe you can't unmute.
Yes.
All right,
with
all
you.
right. Okay, okay.
Sorry, I've just logged in, so I'm still catching up.
All right, sawa. Then we'll just give you time to catch up or to just log in and settle down, and then we'll continue. So somebody else, a gentleman, I need to know who are the people that you've engaged with in the last 7 days or in the last 1 week, and who are these people? I'll pick on someone, the Peter Karuga.
Hi.
Hi.
Personally, it's my classmate. Yes, during the weekdays and a few during the weekends, but mostly it's about schoolwork. And now my family, my parents and my brother.
Okay, so there's nobody else, no new person you've spoken to in the last 7 days. It could be a new classmate that you've spoken to in the last 7 days. There's no askari. It's okay to even say that you had gone out somewhere and you spoke to the bouncer. It's fine. This is an open space.
No new person. Okay, probably my neighbor, which is interesting. We normally don't meet that often, So for the last 7 days, today is the first day we've talked. So yeah, that's the only new person in a way.
Right.
Yes, but no new person.
Okay, so with your neighbor, did you get to know what your neighbor does, or was it just a basic conversation, like, hi, I'm a neighbor? So what was the conversation with your neighbor?
It was more of catching up because she's also a student. So it was asking her how her semester is going, more or less, just catching up to see how she's going.
All right. So again, why I was asking all this is just to also understand. You see, one of the things that you guys had said you want to learn about is how to be seen, to be heard, and to be remembered. And one of the things that we always remember is the people that we always forget is people who are around us are part of the people who will help us to move towards a certain point in our lives. It could be that, let's say, for example, like for Rafael, it could be that your neighbor has a friend who is also in the same space, or is also in the same, studying the same thing as you. And it could be that you have this specific assignment that you really don't know how to move, or to just maneuver around. And that this neighbor of yours now knows a person who can help you to do that. It could be that this specific neighbor, or the person that you have met in the new person that you've met this past week, is someone who can actually be able to help you to either craft a CV, or it could be someone who can be able to help you to revamp your LinkedIn profile. So that's actually how you are seen and heard. I won't even lie to you, because what value are you giving to this person? How are you creating value for this person? Which again ties into social capital. So if you can be able to create value for this specific person, then it means that this person will always have you in mind. This person will always know, oh, I know a Rafael who is studying in JQuad and who does 1 2 3 1 2 3. But if you're not really communicating your value, if you're not also really giving value to somebody else, how do you really think, or how do you expect to be seen and to be heard by people around you? Because remember, a lot of the questions that we usually get, even from the Career Hub program, is people tell you, okay, so I joined this company, and the usual, after 3 months, I was out of probation, but then we joined with this specific person, and then this person actually gets more tasks, and this person is always in everyone's lips. Is always this is you always hear about this specific name a lot of the times. That's because this person is being very intentional with wanting to be seen, with wanting to be heard, and it's because they have already shown, this is the value that I'm creating for you, or this is what I am bringing to you. So they already, so the employer or people even in the office already know that if you want, maybe if you want someone to train, then pick on Jerome. If you want someone to do this, pick on Jerome, because these people have already showed that they are creating value, that they are a value creating entity. And at the end of the day, that is how, again, you start building your own career. Because once your employer knows that this is always the plug, you see, there's always this there, and people who get this a lot are the IT people. There's always the IT guy. When your laptop is hanging, the IT guy. And there's this specific IT guy you will go to when your email may hang or something, or you cannot send emails, or your keyboard is not even working. There's this IT guy, and you need to be that IT guy, but now in your certain fields, because you want to grow in a space where a lot of people have already grown. A lot of people have either the same degree. A lot of people have had 6 years in school. For me, if it was finance, a lot of people have gone to the 4 years. But then what's the differentiating factor between me and them? Should I have done finance? Maybe these people decided, oh, okay, I'll do a CPA. And after doing a CPA, they decided, okay, now I'm really good in the technical aspect. Then now I need to look at how will I be good, or even better in the soft skills aspect. And then me, I'm still here, I'm still telling myself, but after campus, I'll get a job because, my father will take me to this school, or my father will take me to this company. And that's not how it works. And it's fine. You can actually have someone who will link you to that place. There'll always be that person. And that's why you say a resource, one of the resources that you have is that your networks. There'll always be someone who will link you to a certain place. There'll always be someone who will be your like, your stepping stone towards that certain, that next level. But then it's now your work, or it's your intention now to know, how am I creating value once I'm there? Because it's, you see, when somebody connects you to a certain job or to a certain internship, they connect you knowing that this person is going to be able to deliver in this specific role. So if you're not delivering in that specific role, then it means that nobody is really seeing you, or nobody is really hearing about you. So you're not in everyone's mind. You're not the first person who people think of when they're like, okay, the IT guy, okay, the nanny guy, okay, the engineer who can be able to fix everything. You're not that person. So that's how you're seen and you're heard. You become a value creating entity. And once you become a value creating entity, you as a value creating entity, you need to know you have 5 resources. You have yourself, you have time, you have reputation, you have your networks, and lastly, you have money. Those 5 things. And again, how you are seen and heard is by ensuring that there's this thing we call the water cooler diplomacy, and few people have it. So what this is about is you're a person, you can be seated with a person who is well known. Let's say, for example, if here we brought Barack Obama, and we told Barack Obama, you know what, we want you to speak with guys from JQuat. And Barack is just like, okay, sawa basi, I'll do that. And he comes and he speaks to you in a way that you start feeling that, okay, this was Potas at one point, but now Potas is speaking to us, and you're just like small us in JQuat, but Potas is speaking to us. Why? Is because he has the water cooler diplomacy, and this is just being able to be a leader who also remembers that there is this person that they need to nurture. There is this person that they need to show, oh, by the way, as much as I am a person of authority, I am still a person who can be able to help you. And I'm still interacting with you in a way that makes you feel that I'm not one of you, but I hear you, and I can be able to help you in this specific way. But this person will not be able to help you if at all you're not putting yourself in a position where they are actually seeing you, they are actually hearing about you. They actually, if they sit down, they're like, okay, Jerome is a person who organizes 1, 2, 3. If this person is not hearing that about you, then this person is not really going to be the one who's going to help you to grow in your own career. This is not the person who is going to hook you up. So you need to remember, you are a value creating entity. And that is one of the things that you need to leverage on. So just before we go to that, and then you need to know that you are a value creating entity. The other thing, that the exercise that I gave you of listing down a couple of people that you have interacted with in the last 7 days or in the last 1 week, is because you need to know, if I'm interacting with the same type of people, again, I am just moving around the same circles. And there's this thing I started doing recently, and it's just trying to speak to at least one more person. And it's very interesting how, even if you try to speak to one new person and being very intentional with the communication or what you're telling them, it changes the whole dynamics of everything. You start becoming, like recently I spoke to my mom's friend, who we don't really speak that much. I mean, yes, she's my mom's friend, but we just have the relationship of, oh, you're my mom's friend, you come, I'll serve you 1, 2, 3, and then I'll leave. But then we started having conversations with her, just like, okay, so what do you do? And I also asked her what she does. Who does she interact with every day? Because if she knows what I do, and she's interacting with like-minded people like me, or people who can actually be able to get me a step further in my career, then this is someone that I need in my networks. And it doesn't matter if she's your mom's friend. Once she's in your networks, she's now part of your networks, and she's part of your mom's networks. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's always trying to be very intentional with what you're doing, with who you're interacting with, building that social capital, because that is definitely what is going to help you to accelerate in your career. That's what is going to help you to actually grow in your own career. And one of the other things, even before we move to the next topic, which was about office etiquette and all that good stuff, I'd just like to know if there's any question. If there's any question, you can kindly unmute your mic. You can ask me whatever it is that you want to ask me. You can leave it in the chat and I'll be able to respond before we continue to the next thing. Is there any question? Jerome, is there any question that I might be missing out?
No, I don't seem to see any.
All right, so the next thing that we'll be talking about is office etiquette. And it's interesting, when I saw office etiquette, I really never thought this is something that people guys would really be thinking about as much. But these are some of the things that when it comes to office etiquette, it's like, how do you need to be carrying yourself around the office? How do you need to be communicating with people? What conversations, or how are you even supposed to communicate with this person? How are you communicating with the other person? And that's what we're now going to be diving into. So communication is a process of sending and receiving messages in which two or more people achieve understanding. So what this simply means is, if you're not sending the message, then there's no communication. If you're not receiving the message, then there's also no communication. So communication is just the process of sending and receiving messages in which two or more people achieve understanding. And when you see the stick figure on the screen right now, which is, there's the sender and there's the receiver. And when we see the message and the feedback, that is just called a communication loop. And one of the things that you need to be very keen on, again, when it comes to office etiquette, it's just understanding that you need to be communicating in the best possible way. And this is not only communicating your value, it's also communicating things to do with your work. You know, how your superior is telling you, you did this presentation and this presentation wasn't really well, but then you're here just like you're shrugging your shoulders, just like, but I really did my best. No, I researched, I googled, I did this and this and this. Remember, communication, you need to be top notch. You need to be the 90%. You need to have 90% of good communication skills if you want to succeed in your career, or even if you want to just voice out what you want to be growing in. Because again, as from the screen you can see, our communication is based on 10% is just words. Yani 10%, I'll be here, I'll do the presentation, I will teach you guys from 6:30 to 8:30, but the only thing, yani, I'm just communicating 10%, it's just words. So the rest of the 90% is about your voice expression and your body gesture. And there's this thing of how, even when your mom is speaking to you, and your mom has sent you the remote. Yani the remote is just, it's literally on the table, but then she's just, Ebu, pass me that remote. And you're just asking yourself, but why? The remote is literally, like, it's an arm's length reach, but she still wants you to pass her the remote. And there's just a certain way that either you'll speak, or there's a certain way that your body will move that will insinuate, or that will tell her, okay, this one just doesn't want to pass me the remote. It's the same thing. So 10% of what you say is the only thing that, your words, you only communicate 10% with your words. So the rest of the 90% is what you should be working on. The rest of the 90%, you need to be working on your voice. How high or how low is your pitch? You need to know if I'm in a meeting, then I need to speak with this certain tone. If I'm speaking to my superior, then I need to be speaking in this certain tone. And there's a way my body needs to be moving. And that's some of the things that we're going to be covering today. And again, we have, when we say again that 50% is body gestures, and those are just nonverbal communication cues, or that's just body language. How is your posture? Are you slouching? How does your appearance look like? How are your head movements? Are you nodding? Recently, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues in the office, and she was just telling me how, you can be speaking to her and you're just you're nodding, but then it's like, are you nodding? Like, is it because you are understanding what she's saying? Is it that your mind has drifted and so there's a certain way you need to be communicating with her, or there's a certain way you need to be communicating generally with people. There's a certain way, if your body or your head moves this other way, then there's a certain thing it's suggesting. Hand movements, how are your hands, when you're speaking? And this is also something that we're going to be covering in the next few minutes. How are your hands moving? You could just be here and I'm just moving my hands like this, and there's a lot of things that you're not seeing. Maybe you're trying to focus on a couple of things. And one of the reasons actually that for me, I love wearing jewelry is because you can be able to tell if someone is either looking at your jewelry specifically and not even concentrating, or they're looking at your jewelry and then they're just asking, they're listening to what you're saying, and they're carrying you in a certain type of way. So all these are things that you need to remember when you're communicating. How are your eyes moving? Your eye movements. Are you the ones who just flip your eyes so many times, or is there a certain way that you shrug your eyes, or you shrug your shoulders? These are the things, these are the non-verbal cues that communicate a lot about you. And these are things that you should be very aware of. Even how do you laugh? There are people who, to be very honest, laugh so loudly, and it's not a bad thing, but then at the end of the day, just like, you really didn't have to laugh that loud, because then that was too loud, So these are some of the things that you need to be aware of once you're communicating, and these are some of the things that tie into the office etiquette. And so these are a couple of ways actually that you need to communicate, or your hands or your body movement needs to be having, so that someone can actually say that they are communicating with you effectively. So for your arms, the position gives clues of openness and receptiveness. It's very interesting that let's say, for example, if I'd come here and I just hold my hands like this, and this is how I train you for the whole time, and I'm just here, my hands are here, and I'm talking. So legs, remember that they are the farthest from the brain. Let's control them. Angle of the body. You see, so there's a certain way. If you put your hands like this, then it definitely means that you're closed off. You're trying. A lot of people think that you're showing, you're showing like you're a boss, or you're trying to communicate that you're a boss. But then remember, you're not trying to just communicate that you're a boss. You're trying to communicate that you're someone who is very approachable, that you're someone who can be able to communicate with someone very, very openly. And so when your hands are moving, when your hands are, you're trying to talk to someone and you're actually gesturing, and you're showing them a hand, so please continue. So this is how you do this, or like you're trying to give a presentation. It also shows the type of charisma that you have. So if you're just here and you're crossing your arms like this, and you're trying to speak to maybe a lecturer, or you're in an interview and your hands are like this the whole time, then that just shows you're very closed off, and you're not really receptive to what you're going to be told, or even the communication that you're going to be having moving forward is not something that is going to show that you're very open to what we're going to be talking about. The legs, remember, they're the farthest from the brain. Let's control them. Have you ever noticed when you're speaking to someone and they sort of want to leave the room, their legs are never facing you. Their legs are always facing the door, because that's what they want to do. They're showing you that they want to leave. And it's quite unfortunate that you could have entered in a room and you're not even trying to communicate that, or maybe you've crossed your legs, and all you're doing is this, you're there, you're listening. But then when you cross your legs, it doesn't show that you are trying to listen. It doesn't show that you're trying to communicate effectively. The angle of your body, it gives an indication to attitudes and feelings towards someone. It's like if I'd be here and I'm seated, and then I decide, what, I'm going to train you guys as I sit like this, and I'm just like, So eye contact, this is how, there's a certain way that communicates. And the interesting thing is, one of the things that I learned is your body needs to be perpendicularly towards the person you're speaking to. So if I'm trying to speak to you guys, my feet, my knees and my toes and my chin need to be looking at the person who I'm speaking to, because that's how you show someone that you are actually trying to communicate to them in a way that is effective. And this is how you actually you show someone that I'm listening to you, I'm open to what you're saying. We're in a meeting, but I am still listening and I'm open towards what you're saying. Your posture, you should get it right, and you should feel good almost instantly. Anytime that you sit in the way that I've just told you, your knees and your toes and your chin should be faced towards the person that you're speaking to, and you should maintain eye contact. This is because when you instantly do this, it's like a natural feel, because this is how naturally your body feels, or this is how naturally your body moves. So if you have the right posture, you're looking at someone straight in the eye and you're communicating with this person, then this person feels that you are open to having the discussion. You are open to having this type of communication. And even when you tell someone, this is the value that I bring, they can actually see it, because they see it in how you talk. They see it in how you're seated. They're seeing it in how your arms are moving, in how your legs are moving, in how your head position is situated. And the other thing is, what I also learned is, when you are talking with someone, have a mimic what they're doing, because once you mimic what someone is doing, not like literally if they're doing this and you do this. No, it's like when the person is talking and then they're gesturing, they're shaking their head, they're nodding, then this is your cue to also nod the same way. If the person is tilting their head, then you tilt your head the same way, because it shows that you are engaging with whatever this person is speaking about. You are engaging with this person. You are communicating with this person, that you are actually listening to what this person is saying, and not listening just to listen, but you are also listening just to understand, okay, this is what this person is saying, and this is the type of response that I'm giving. A lot of the times we listen just because we want to give a direct answer, or we want to be so quick to talk, or so quick to communicate, to just give feedback. But then we forget, maybe all this person wanted to know or wanted from you is just to see that you are actually listening to them, and you're actively listening to them. So these are some of the cues. How does your mouth move? Are you smiling? A lot of the times people go into interviews and they're just there. So tell me about yourself. So my name is Juliet. I have done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And you're not smiling. Remember, you need to be communicating to this person. And we've said 10% is just the words that you're having. 10% is just words, to be very honest. The rest of the 90% is your body movement, is your gestures. How are you? How warm do you feel? How open do you feel? Because again, that's how a lot of people end up landing a couple of jobs. It's how you interacted with your interviewee. It's how you interacted with your employer. They sat down and they felt, okay, this person made me feel like they can actually sell the program for me, or this person feels like they can actually communicate this program to me. And that's what you should be on the lookout for. The other thing is feedback. So a lot of the times, feedback is very hard. One, it's hard to build. It's hard to tell someone that, you know what, you did not deliver, or you did not do 1, 2, 3. Feedback is hard for everyone, but it builds trust once it is done effectively. And that's why we have, we have the FBI or the SPI tool, as you can see on the screen. And this tool is divided into 3 segments. So there's the feeling, the situation, there's the behavior, and there's the intention. Remember, when you're trying to give someone feedback, you're trying to show this person, okay, this is how you did this certain job. It's okay, you did this job, it was a great job, but then this specific thing was what didn't work. And it's very, very important to get the feedback framework effectively and accurately, because the very minute when you're telling someone you did not deliver, it ties we're human beings. Naturally, we just sit down and we'd be like, hey, okay, so it means I'm not good enough. So it means I haven't done this. And that's not the case. What this person was just trying to say is, maybe you did this specific presentation and it was not right. So when you look at the feeling or the situation, you're looking at maybe there's a slide, or maybe there's a slide that you were supposed to prepare for your employer. And then in this specific slide, there was a place where you did the calculations wrong. So this specific thing, that is the situation. It's not your entire slide. It's not your entire presentation. It's this specific thing that had an issue. And how do you counter it? And then how do you counter it is now where behavior comes in. What was the end result? By you giving this specific figure wrong, then the person on the end received it this specific way. So now it's very hard to come and tell them, oh, no, that figure was wrong. It wasn't done accurately, or it wasn't done correctly. Then now we have to have the whole situation of we're trying to do damage control, and there's nothing bad as doing damage control. And then the last thing is the intention. So clearly the intention was not to hurt you, or the intention was not to make you feel that you are not worthy of doing this project, but the intention but it was more of this specific thing cost us this specific deal. And when it cost us this specific deal, this is we either won't have that money at the end of the month. But then once you are able to now understand, so how am I supposed to give feedback? I'm supposed to look at it, what feeling or what was the situation? So what was a specific situation that I didn't like? And even if you're not the person who, you're not the employer, maybe it's somebody else in your office, it's your colleague who is also a friend. Just like, when you delivered this specific thing, it didn't make sense, or maybe this specific slide didn't make sense. And what did it do? When I was now pitching it to somebody, or pitching it to my superior or to my supervisor, they didn't feel like it communicated what it was supposed to communicate. At the end of the day, this is the deal that we lost. Or maybe my superior felt that I hadn't done a good enough job. And then the last thing is you reaffirm your expectations. So by reaffirming expectations, this just simply means the intention, or the expectations, this just simply means now you're trying to do the damage control with that specific person. It's like, now, since this slide wasn't correct, I think this is how we could have gone through it, or I think this is how you could have done it, or I think next time maybe counter check the figures before you post them, or just next time ask maybe if you didn't know exactly what was the right figure, or what was the right slide that was supposed to go in at this specific time. Because now once you do that, somebody in their mind is now thinking, oh, actually did a good presentation, but this specific part was wrong, and I need to change this specific part. So before we move on to the next thing, I'd like to ask if there are any questions. And I've also seen that it's 8:12, so we can take a 10 minutes break. And then I can first, if you guys have questions, you can ask any questions before we take the 10 minutes break. And Jerome, I'll just leave that to you if there's any question, or if someone wants to unmute themselves and ask any question, feel free to ask, and I'll give you the response before we go for a break, for at least a 10-minute break.
Okay, I don't see any questions. So yeah, maybe you can start the break now. Then maybe make it 5 minutes, then be done, so it can be done by times in 15.
So you take a 10-minute break and return at what time?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I'm asking, can it be 5?
Yes, definitely.
5 minutes that we.
Alrighty, 5 minutes, and then we'll be back.
So maybe we'll be back at 10 at hour.
All right, no problem.
So sorry guys, I can't play music. Because if I do, the live stream might end up being taken down for copyright reasons. And I'm not a content creator, so I don't know how to, what's the word? How to properly reference. Anyway. Awesome. You're back.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah, so we were talking about communication. We generally were talking about office etiquette, and we spoke about communication. And now we're going to be speaking about, we spoke about also feedback. Now we're going to be speaking about the attire and dress. So how you dress. When it comes to how you dress, I know a lot of people are looking at this image and they're just like, okay, so I'll be wearing suits 24 hours and a tie. And it's the truth of the matter is, for people who are, let's say, in banks, this is how they are required to work, or this is how they're required to dress when they're going to work from Monday to at least Thursday. At some point I did intern in a bank, and this is basically how we were dressing. But then on Friday, you get to wear the company t-shirt, which was a privilege that was extended to you. So the only thing that I'd want you to take away from attire and how you dress is it's three main things. One is the symmetry. So for guys, it's how do your pants look? Does it have, are they ironed? Do they have that line in between? Like how does your shirt look? Even for ladies, how does your shirt look? Does it have a crisp collar? Is it ironed well? Your coat, does it have that line? And I'm really not the best person at ironing, so I usually make people do it for me, because I know, especially if you're going for a meeting, there is a certain way that you want to look, and there's a certain demeanor that it gives once you enter the room. It's like you enter the room and your coat just has creases all over, or maybe once you remove your coat, your actual shirt has creases, and that just doesn't show your seriousness. It shows that you just came, I woke up like this, and I wore this shirt and I wore this suit because I've worn a suit, then it just means that I'm presentable. But no, the three key things that I'd want you to write down or to note when it comes to your dressing and your attire are: one, how you dress shows effort. So that's one. Effort. How you dress shows effort on your place, effort on your end. Was your pants, was your shirt white enough? Were you wearing the right tie? Was it a red tie? Was it a blue tie? Because remember, all these are things that they communicate different things. If you're a lady, did you have your button all the way down, or did you look presentable? The second thing is symmetry, which I've just talked about. If it's a shirt, I think, sorry, is it, your coat, has it been ironed well enough? Does it look crisp? Does it look clean? And also they're just basic. And for the ladies, actually, there's been a lot of buzz that goes around with, oh, you're wearing makeup, oh, you're not wearing makeup, oh, your eyebrows are done, oh, your eyebrows are not done. There's a certain way. And if you realize, girls or women or ladies who just come into a room and they've done their makeup, it doesn't have to be a full face fit, but you just look presentable enough, they get attention more, they get listened to more. Why? Because there is a certain effort that came with that. There's a certain effort that you are communicating at the end of the day. So those are just what I'd like you to take away when it comes to attire. Always remember, it shows your effort. It needs to show symmetry, and out of it showing your effort, it needs to show that you are presentable. It needs to communicate a certain language to the person that you're going to speak to. It needs to communicate, it needs to have a certain language that it just needs to speak to you, and it needs to speak to the person that you're speaking to, right? The other thing is, now again, in communication. So I know we have a lot of slang. People from Twitter, people from everywhere, they have all different slangs. They have short form. At this point, I don't really think I can keep up with all the slang that is going. There are some we know, but there are some we don't know. So if you look at the two slides on screen, we have one that's what's up, OMG Jane, Jane wants to go with us. And to be very honest, I personally don't like it when people use some certain short forms, because I don't really think that they communicate effectively. And it could be that you're trying to speak to one of the people within your networks and you're trying to communicate to them. And now you feel that since you've gotten to this friendship level, then that you can be able to send them a you up, or WU, so that because now you're friends, and you forget that this is person who is within your contact. This is someone who is within your social network. And as much as you have gotten to that level of familiarity, you don't need to be sending messages in this specific way, or you don't need to be sending messages in that type of way. And then another example is this. There's a first paragraph and there's a second paragraph. The first paragraph is like, dear John, I want to know what love is all about. You are generous, kind, thoughtful people who are not like you admit to being useless. You see, there's no punctuation. There's no, you're just reading. It's one whole sentence, and from the way it looks, it can even go on and it can even continue. As opposed to the second paragraph, dear John, I want someone who knows what love is all about, full stop. You are generous, kind, thoughtful. It communicates what are you trying to tell John? Okay, John, I am here. I am ready. Let's do this. Are we dating? Are we not? It needs to communicate something, which is the same thing. And it's quite sad when I was giving away scholarships for this season, and I saw people just sending me documents, and they're sending a document as it is. The document has not been punctuated. There is no, even in the main, there's no email body. Some people are just writing my application. And you're wondering, okay, your application for what? Do you want a job? What exactly is it that you want? These are the small things that will hinder you from even growing in your own career. These are the things that will make, let's say, for example, you send typos every time you're sending your superior emails, and now you think, because, okay, they're my superior, we've worked with him or her for a couple of months or a couple of years, I can be able to typo. This really speaks a lot. And I do know people who have actually lost jobs just because how they are communicating, and especially people who are doing PR or people who are on social media a lot. There's a certain way they need to be communicating, and that's why there's a whole PR department, and that's why we have people who you go to and people who you go to actually ask them, okay, how do I communicate this? How do I speak this? Because there's a certain way a person in PR will see this ad and they'll be like, okay, this makes more sense. And there's somebody who will be in the marketing department who's like, okay, for me this makes sense. Me Bora does 1, 2, 3 for me, then it's okay. But there is a certain type of communication, there's a certain type of way that this needs to be communicated. And all this ties into how exactly you're going to grow in your own career, because you don't want to be the person who is sending emails and there's this meme I saw the other day. You're sending an email and then the email is gone, but then whatever you are attaching, it's still there, it's still waiting for you, it's still waiting to be sent, because you just did not attach the folder or the file. And these are the small things that you need to be really keen on. And it happens, human is to error. I'm not saying that, now you need to be perfect. No, these things happen, but when you do them a little bit too much or a little bit too often, then it really does not communicate right about you, right about, are you paying attention to detail? Are you keen? Are you keen enough to know this needs a full stop here, or this needs a comma here, or this needs to be communicated in one way or the other? And then we usually say at the core of social capital is trust. So all of this, again, ties into social capital, ties into the networks that you have, ties into the people that you have in your network, ties into the type of reputation, what brand have you built. And we always say that at the core of social capital is trust. You want me to give you this specific job. Why? There's this podcast I listened to called Jesus and Jollof, and one of the things that really caught my eye recently, or really caught my ear in this case recently, was when they were saying how it's okay to plug your friend. It's okay to do that. It's okay to, if your friend needs a job, it's okay to have, maybe your supervisor look at their CV and consider that it's okay to do all this. But remember, I need you to be at your A game, and I need to trust you in a certain level for me to be able to say, I am sure that even if I am giving my friend's CV to so and so, I am sure that this person is going to deliver. This person is not going to is not going to have these small mistakes, because with trust comes reciprocity. So what does this mean? You're doing for others, we're not with any immediate expectation of repayment. Again, when we were starting this conversation, we started by saying that the social capital that you build, the networks that you build, you need to look at what are they giving you and what are you giving to them. It doesn't always have to be money. And there's a whole difference when it comes to return on investments from money itself and return on investments from people. You see, when you expect money each and every single time, there's this statement I hear a lot of people use, or a lot of people always expect a handout, because I've done this for you, Sunilipe, because I've been able to speak to this for you. So you do this for me. Yes, you send me this money. Yes, but you always forget that this is a give and take. I give you, you give me. And that's how social capital is built. It's not always going to be built around money. It's not always going to be built around, okay, so where's my money? Always this. Remember, when you're starting out in your career, it will not always be about the money. And I know a lot of people are always like, Mimi, I have a degree, I have another degree elsewhere, and then now I have a first class, yet you've never worked in an actual office. You've never gotten that first job. You don't know how the industry is. You don't know how to communicate with people. You don't even know how to build your networks, yet you expect a certain form of payment, or you expect a high level of payment. That is not what social capital is all about. Social capital is about me understanding that if I do this for you, then you do this for me. If today I am here and I am training guys from ThriveCon, then I need to understand. Then guys from ThriveCon at one point will want another conversation, will want a follow-up conversation. And for me, they'll put me in the eyes of different other people, of 10 other people, of 20 other people, of 30 other people. And that's how you build social capital. It's you give me this and I give you that. And it doesn't really have to be monetary. Reciprocity lubricates social interactions in the same way as cash is more efficient than barter. What does this mean? You've come to me, you've told me, hi, Juliet, this is my problem and this is how I want you to help. And then I have helped you. Or you've come and you've told me, hi, Juliet, I'm a creative and I want to maybe start speaking with a couple of photographers. So how are you going to help? And maybe at the back of my mind, I'm just like, okay, I know this photographer and this photographer, and then I help you. And then you tell me, in return, I can even do 1, 2, 3 for you. So you see, there is a sort of loop in between the two of us. A is helping B, and then B ends up helping A. And that's how you look at social capital. That's how you need to understand the career space out here is, or that's how basically the career space is. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, how are you moving from point A to B? How are you helping me to help you? And once you have created that form of a seamless loop in between you, B knows C. Now it becomes, okay, so may I helped B get this photographer, and then I've just realized that maybe B wanted a photographer because I don't know, he was selling neck pieces, or maybe he was selling earrings, or maybe he had an engineer in mind who can be able to develop, I don't know, a software for me. So then I'd speak to B, and then B can be able to speak to C, and then C will be able to help me. And that is how it all works. That is how we build social capital, and that is how we use social capital as a form of career acceleration, or as a form of helping you, so that you can be able to help me. This is just a small exercise that you guys can take a screenshot of, so that you can do at the end of the day, or even when you're seated, because most of the times we have honest conversations with ourselves. Sometimes it's very hard to, again, for someone to give you feedback, to be given feedback. It's hard to take it, it's hard to give it. So just do this when you're seated and be as honest as you can. So what sort of favors can you do for others at work? Are you going to be the Excel girl? Are you going to be the Google Sheets guy? Are you the one who, if anyone needs a presentation, then reach out to this person? You need to understand, and you always need to remember, what is the end goal? Remember, the end goal is important. You want to advance in your career. You want to grow in your career. you want to maybe you want to move, you want to change from being in the IT team and you want to go to the marketing team. Maybe you want to become next in line after your superior. You need to look at what are some of the favors that you can do for people. The other thing you need to look at is what ways can you give more of yourself without feeling stretched. Remember, at the end of the day, you have your own KPIs. You have your own things that you need to figure out. Maybe you are at work, you need to do that Excel sheet, you need to do those calls, you need to deliver a trading. You also need to think about, if I'm doing this favor to this person, am I stretching myself? And if I am feeling stretched, am I going to be able to communicate this to this person and tell this person, hey, you know what, I can't be able to do this for you at this specific time or at this specified time, but I can definitely be able to do it for you at this other time, and is that okay? So have this take a screenshot, take a photo of this exercise and do it by yourself. Do it when you're alone. Think about it and just look at what are some of the things that you can do. What are some of the favors that you can offer to people at the office? And are you going to feel stretched if you do it? What can you give? What more can you give of yourself without really feeling stretched? So I think just a small recap of what we talked about, or what we need to now do, or what are some of the steps that we need to now take, right? And the whole conversation was just tied into early career development. Oh, I'm sorry, today I think I ate bananas today. So the conversation is just about early career development. And what do you need to do that? You need to start building your social capital. And how do you need to do that? You need to remember that, again, I am a value creating entity. All I do is give value. I am giving value to this company. I'm giving value to this person. Am I interning and am I doing the level best? Am I giving my all? Am I even learning? Is it that I came here knowing that, hey, this is how you prepare an Excel sheet? This is how you do 1, 2, 3. But am I learning? Is that how it is done in this company? So you need to start building your social capital and understanding that you are a value creating entity. And we spoke about some of the resources that you have. You have yourself. These are your talents, your skills. What can you do? What can you communicate? How effectively can you do it? There's your reputation. What brand have you built? How is your brand attending meetings on your behalf? Is your brand speaking about you? Are there people? There's this meme that always goes around where it says, it's good if you have friends who can plug you to other people. So is your brand really doing that for you? Is your brand communicating your value to you? Do you have a friend somewhere? Do you have a neighbor somewhere who can say, oh, by the way, I know so and so who can do this? So you have yourself, you have your reputation, you have money. Are you trying to get rich, or are you trying to be wealthy? If you're trying to be rich, you will constantly be tired. You will constantly be working to make more money. Okay, you've made more money. So what next? Okay, now I just want to make more money. But then you forget that you need to be able to get to a point where you are growing and you are now becoming wealthy. You are creating passive income. Your money is now working for you. And that's one of the things, and one of the beauty of going to the campus program, because that is it's actually a module on itself. The other thing is you have time. What are you doing when you're free? When you're free, what are you doing on your Saturdays? Is it that you're free on Sundays? What are you doing on Sundays? Are you delivering talks? Are you revamping your CV? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you linking with other people who are similar to you? What are you really doing? And then after that, we now went and looked about how are you seen and how are you heard. Once you start building your social capital, remember, we're not just building social capital just because, okay, I want to build social capital because I want at the end of the day to have this job. I want at the end of the day to have this and this and this. Remember, you want to be seen. You want to be remembered. You want to be intentional about what you're doing. And how to be seen and how to be remembered is understanding that I need to be talking with this person, because everybody, when you look at it, you need to treat everybody as equals. Now, not unless this person is a supervisor, then you need to treat everybody as equals. Don't be the person who is going outside and then you're seeing a watchman and just like, hey, me, I don't speak to watchmen. No. Or maybe you're seeing, someone, the cleaner in your office is literally cleaning your desk and just like, these are some of the things that again, this cleaner is someone who, if you're good to, if you are communicating to them effectively, if you even consider what they are doing, they'll also consider what you're doing. And remember, these are people who see, these are people who hear what you say, they're people who are around you a lot of the times. If it's your watchman, if it's your watchy around home, this is someone who guards your place. This is someone who you'll meet with on the road sometime when you just happened to go home a little bit late, and they're the ones who help you. You just be like, hey, the people who are following me, these are people who are going to help you in one way or the other. Remember, you never know the type of connect or the type of network even the other person has. So it's very important to be very intentional so that you can know, how am I going to be seen? How am I going to be heard? How am I even going to be remembered? Are they going to remember me for the good? Is it that I'll be the person who's always delivering my work on time? Am I the person who is always, getting people's Excels looking fabulous? Am I the one who's always creating the slides for presentations? You need to know, what do you want to be remembered by? And also always remember, again, the end goal is what is important. If for you, what you want to get is an internship, if you just want to be the person who everyone goes to when they want to talk about LinkedIn, if you want to get that job, and even after getting that job, you also need to know, how am I going to stay in this job? How are they going to remember me? Is it that even if I put, there are people who actually put referees in their CV, and they don't even communicate to them. And when these referees are called, they're just like, oh yeah, actually this person did 1, 2, 3, they were good. That your reputation, your personal brand needs to be holding meetings on your behalf. It needs to speak for you, even when you can't really speak for yourself. It needs to be out there, and people need to be saying, oh, by the way, if you're looking for somebody who can do 1, 2, 3, then just look for Jerome. Then just look for Charity, just look for Cindy. And that is how you grow in your own career. And that's why I told you, there is no start and stop button as to when you can start growing in your career. We have seen people who have worked for 1 year and they have grown immensely. We have seen people who have stayed in the same position for 9 years and there's nothing, and they're constantly complaining. Why? Because they forget you're not there for a long time. And this is a statement that Dre keeps saying: you're not there for a long time, you're there for a good time. You're there to show people, this is what I can deliver, this is what I can be able to do. And if you worked somewhere for 9 years and you're doing the same role, you're doing the same things, there's no challenge, there's nothing that's coming along your way, then you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. Is it that I'm not communicating? Is it that I am not, my reputation is not as good? Is it that people can't even remember me? Is it that no one can even give me a simple task as, edit for me this Google Sheet, edit for me this document? So what is the case, and why are people not remembering you? Because that is the only way that you're going to be able to grow in your own career. So I hope that we are all together. And now I'm almost at the end. And guys, we can talk today, we can talk tomorrow, we can talk about everything. I wish I could be able to cover the whole of career planning, or to cover the whole of everything about careers in this small time that we had, but it is in the campus edition program. So one of the courses that you're going to be going through is Principles of Personal Finance Management. Here we talk about what are the principles, what is the mentality that you have towards your money right now. And when we're in campus, we usually don't think about we don't think about money that much, because you're like, okay, I'll just ask for this book that's 5,000, or I'll ask for a calculator that you really don't really need, but you just have the money. But now we need to look at the principles of personal finance management. How are you managing your finances? The other thing is the time value of money and debt. Time value is just simply, you start saving your money as early as now, putting your money in specific places, and then your money starts multiplying over the years. And the earlier you start, the better. You have debt. Debt just covers again, debt is just debt. Uko na deni ya mtu. And how are you going to maneuver through that? How are you going to pay back this person? How are you going to avoid debt? What is good debt? What is bad debt? How do you use debt? How do you use good debt? How do you come out of debt? There's things, the other module is savings and investments. Where am I supposed to save? This question we get so many times, even from the 101 class. Everyone is always asking, where do I save? Where do I invest? You tell people, oh, there's stocks. They're just like, hi, how do I invest stocks? And what savings and investments does, which is something that's very beautiful, is that it helps you to know this is how you can save. This is what you can save. This is where you can save. And after saving, these are some of the investments that you can make. And if you want to make these investments, how do I go about it? You know, what accounts do I need to be opening? You know, what banks do I need to be looking at? What type of questions do I need to be doing so that I can evaluate some of the investment options that I have? When the other module is entrepreneurship, we have a lot of people who are starting businesses right now. But the sad thing is they start these businesses and then halfway through they're just like, hey, apana, this business is too hard. I can't be able to communicate even. I don't even know what to tell them. I don't, you know, there's so many things and there's so many things that make people quit. And these are things that can be able to be countered. And that's why we have entrepreneurship, because we do value that it's not everyone who wants to venture into the career space. It's not everyone who wants to be employed. It's not everyone some people just want to be the CEOs of their own businesses, the CEOs of their own companies. And that's how entrepreneurship works. It's knowing how to start. You know, are your books right? You know, how are you even going to be on social media? How are you communicating? What are some of the platforms or the avenues that your products can be on? The other thing is career planning, which again, I cannot emphasize enough, that we cannot cover career planning in just a specified time. But on campus edition, you get to know how exactly you're going to plan your career. How do I start? You know, what do I need to have? How does my CV need to look like? How does my LinkedIn profile need to look like? Who do I need to be speaking to? You know, the game of numbers. How many CVs do I need to be sending out? Do I need to be speaking like this? This basically, it's everything and anything about career planning and about knowing how exactly am I going to maneuver. And the last thing is mentorship. We have a mentorship session, or rather we have a mentorship program that is under the campus edition program. And I know Jerome has probably gone through it. And as you can see, the classes begin on 9th of October. That is going to be on this Saturday. And for any inquiries, again, we have the number, and we have esther@centonomy.com, which is the email that you need to be, that you can reach out to. You can ask her as many questions, you can call, and Esther is a program manager for Campus Edition, and she will give you the breakdown of everything and how you need to maneuver, or how you need to start making payments. And the great thing, or the amazing thing, is that this class is on Saturday. I know on Saturday, people in the morning, because it's 9 a.m. to 12 noon, in the morning, you're just like, will I be able to wake up for this class? But once you start that journey, it's a whole different conversation for you, because we have seen people out here who have done this program, and just from this program only, they have set themselves up for success for the next like 5 to 10 years. And it's because why? They were very intentional. They were very intentional in knowing, hey, how do I manage my finances? Because you might think that one is not related to the other, but it is. Because if you want to start managing your finances, you need to be able to understand, okay, I have 500 shillings when I'm starting. How am I going to make this 500 shillings to be 1,000 shillings, to be 10,000 shillings, to be 15,000, and so on and so forth. And if it's in my career, and you know, you've gone through the campus edition program, it's understanding, okay, I went through campus edition. This is how I can negotiate my salary. This is how I can communicate with my superior. Okay, now I have a salary increase. I've negotiated for my salary, and now I have this money. And then I remember, oh, but I did campus edition. So this is how I'm supposed to save. This is how I'm supposed to invest. Remember, guys, class starts on Saturday. And today we have a very special offer for you guys. So any registration that is coming in today is at 500, as opposed to the 1,000 bob that we charge every person who goes to the campus edition program. The total fee for the program was 17,000, but for you guys, it's going to be 15,300. And again, registration is 500 for today. So guys, I know there's like 500 that is in your M-Pesa right now. At this point, you just need to send that 500 and just start figuring out. No, I need to get 14,300. And the good thing is that it's payable in 3 weekly installments, which means the first week you pay 5,000, the next week you pay 5,000, and then the other week you pay 4,300. And I'm so sure if you communicate, if you reach out to Esther, she's going to be able to give you a plan, or she's going to be able to help you through the plan. If you want a different plan, she's a person to speak to. But guys, today, as in it's 500, I think we cannot stress this enough as to how beneficial this program has been. And Jerome also has gone through the program, so he knows. So if you want to register today, the M-Pesa pay bill is 986850, and on the account number, just write your first name plus the word Thrive, just so that we can be able to know these are Thrive guys. You know, this we are treating these guys with this certain we know, because we know we've already started the journey with them, and now they're just going to continue with the journey. Again, guys, just remember, for local students, it's 500 today. Registration is 500 today. To the M-Pesa pay bill, which is 986850. The account number is first name plus the word Thrive. And then if you need any more questions, if you need any clarity on anything, if you just need to know in depth, okay, what is this program about? What are some of the parts of the program? And we do have parts of the program. Our trainers are certified one, so they are not even giving you, I think they've Googled. This is not even material that you can be able to Google. This is information that they have trained on before, that they have seen work for different people, and they can even attest to it, and people even can attest to it. You get there's the mentorship program, which again, you're mentored even after the program. So we keep track of, your progress during the program, we keep track of your progress after the program. And those are just a few, those are just a few parts to the program. So guys, again, just remember, registration today is 500 shillings. The M-Pesa pay bill is, as seen on screen, 986850. If you want to learn how to manage your money, if you want to know, where am I saving, where am I investing, how am I starting in this whole career business, who am I speaking to, whose eyes do I need to be in front of, who needs to be speaking my name, I need an emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? How do you even start building an emergency fund? How do you actually sit down and say, okay, this is the money that I'm going to be putting an emergency fund? What percentage? What are those two side hustles? How do you get passive income? All this is in the campus edition program, and I cannot stress this enough. Registrations for today are only 500 shillings. So register, guys. If you need to speak to your mother, if you need to speak to your dad, if you need to speak to your guardian, to your acquaintance, to your friend, I do not know, but guys, register today, because registration is only 500 shillings as opposed to the 1,000 shillings. I don't know if we have any questions, Jerome, on your end, or we can now bid each other goodbye and hopefully see each other in the campus edition program.
Sorry, I'm having to use another device because of the lag, but can you hear me though?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Yes. Just before we go, I just want to say thank you very much for the stuff you said. This was a great session. Fun fact, there's things that you're talking about in terms of social capital, and even the how of the way we got ThriveCon to come we got Centonomy to come for ThriveCon was actually through a conversation with a friend who knew people at Centonomy. Shout out to Sam Kinywa of Connexus. He said, okay, we went and told him, okay, this is what we need help with, and we want to have Centonomy over for this. We haven't figured it out. He's like, I have a meeting with them on Friday. This was Wednesday. I'm going to tell them about it. And by the next week, we're already planning it. So it just goes to show how much these things are real, even for students. Some of the things that we'll be able to pull off, or some of the things that you will be able to pull off, are things that you really don't know how far you can go. It's just a conversation with somebody, just anybody. So I'd like to say another big thank you to you. We have, this is so much content. I think people just need to do the course to get it much. Now a full 3-hour class on a topic like this, because I often say and I reiterate that this was the career planning part of campus edition was the one that had the biggest impact on me. It's the one that has made us able to do such cool things. So I really advise everyone. I still have it's like my Bible. I still have the the campus edition book here. I still use it sometimes. So yeah, let us know if you need any connections to the Centonomy guys. We'll help you out. If you have any questions, clarifications for Juliet, you can email us. If you're not on the ThriveCon group, you can find my number and we can forward them to Juliet and the team. But otherwise, thank you very much. This has been such a powerful session. I think I'll just go ruminate on it and watch the YouTube live again and really just take these things because they're very powerful. So thank you very much for the session. Thank you guys for coming and have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yes, I see people. Yeah, thanks for coming, Terry, Peter, Ricky, LinkedIn. Hey, I'll find out her LinkedIn. Thank you, Kudu. Thank you, Priscilla. Thanks, Esther from Campus Edition.